Today, the market saw an exponential gain with a 2% rise, and this being the highest the market's ever risen in the month of December. So, the main headline that caused the market to rise up was the jobless claims came higher, which caused more of a relief in the market sentiment that there would not be a more significant rate hike in the coming of time. So, this was the headline. Now let's go into to see what the market actually did. So the market rallied from its lowest for the day all the way up to the 38.77 mark, and this is closer to the 200 period moving average line. This is the 1 hour time frame that I have in front of me, and as you can see, the market shown an aggressive move up. It did not actually take any breaks until it touched the 200 period moving average line. Now, this was an important line that I was keeping an eye out on because I did expect, given the fact that the market's been hovering or trending closer to this 200 period moving average line almost three times in a row, this was an important line to keep in mind. So it doesn't guarantee that the market may turn down as it has been falling down significantly in the last three times, but it does mean that it may take some kind of a break at this 200 period moving average line. Let's look at the daily now. So this is the daily of the S&P 500. And as you can see, the market has been trending lower, like almost for a couple week and a half. And this is the biggest like rally that we've seen. The last rally that we saw was this rally all the way this was 13th of December, but it actually closed, it rallied up and then it rallied down as well. So that was a bit of a roller coaster. But this is the second largest that we've seen in terms of like the overall change in a day. Now, this is the day. I just want to look at a few more charts before I'll go into a few top risers and top losers of the day as well. So to start off with, I just want to look at how gold did today. Gold, this is the daily time frame, is on an upward trend. It's been trending upwards from November 4th, and it's just in a strong upward momentum. This is the gold futures that I have in front of me on the daily time frame. Next, I just want to quickly keep an eye on what oil is doing. So I'm going to look for CL1. So I got CL1. So CL1's in a downward trend. So this is the oil futures. It's been in a downward trajectory. Touched the 50 period moving average line, and it's kind of like trading between the yellow, which is the 20 period, and the 50 period moving average line. Nothing more to forecast here, but there's a lot of downward pressure on it right now. Next, let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin also seems to be in a downward trend. This is the daily time frame for Bitcoin. It has a really strong support on the 50 period moving average line, which is right now around the 17,000 marks. So it's still a long way to go before it can decide to rally upwards. Ether, I believe, will also be in the same. Let's quickly look at Ether. Ether 2 is similar to Bitcoin, heading lower, nothing really significant to talk about. I'm going to now look into a few charts, but before I look into the charts, let's look at a broad perspective of like, what did the market do? So this is the view outlook of the market today. So you see Apple's done pretty well. It's got 2.83%. Nvidia's gone up 4% for the day. Microsoft's 2%. Berkshire Hathaway 1.85%. Communication services is also doing well. Like Google's gone up 2.83. Facebook, which is now Meta, has gone up 4%. Amazon's 2.88%. Tesla did an 8% rise today. Really, really good performance. AMT 2.68%. PLD 3.19%. Energy did not perform like too well in comparison to how the others have performed. Diagnostics and research, DHR 2.9, TMO 2.5. Pretty good performances overall. Like I see ILMN, which is 5.68%, really good performance there too. So overall, a very green market. Nothing really bad to compare. I just want to go quickly on the weekly time frame. So the weekly time frame still has a way to catch up in terms of how the market's performing. You could see Apple's still down for the week at 4.73%, Google's 3.37%, Amazon 3.96, Tesla still 18% down for the week. So it's just bounced back, but I don't think this is like an overall bounce for it yet. So I'm going to look into a few charts that we talked about today, just to kind of give you a forecast. If you are invested in any of these, like where should these stocks trend to go towards? So let's look at the first stock is Apple. So if you look at Apple today, Apple's did go up 3%, almost 2.83% today. But that doesn't mean that it's a good time to buy it, because it's in a very long downtrend. If I look at the weekly chart for Apple, it's heading closer to the 200 period moving average line. So there's more downturn in store for it. So something to keep an eye on, stay away from Apple for now. Next, let's look at Microsoft. This is Microsoft on the daily. It's still on a downtrend, just passed by the 50 period moving average line. Still may have a long way down to go before it could get some respite. Still something to avoid because of the downward trend. The only time I would recommend getting in is above the 50 period moving average line. Nothing really. It's a straight downtrend for it. This is on the daily time frame if you haven't caught that. Next, let's look at a few more. I'm just going to go and find some good picks that we could look at. This is Google for you. Google too, similar to Amazon and Apple, still downtrend. It's past the 50 period moving average line. This is Amazon. It did bounce up today, and it bounced up, but it hasn't moved outside of the downward trend. So still very strong downward trend. Where is this heading towards? Like my best guess would be look at the 200, the weekly charts. It's past that as well. Look at the monthly chart. So since it's broken down these grounds, like the 200 period moving average line, maybe where it's heading to. So 63 could be a possible target that it's heading towards. Still, it won't mean that it's just going to go straight down to 63. It may bounce around and then head there. So keep that in mind as you decide to trade this. Next, let's look at a few more. We looked at Amazon. Next is Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway is super expensive, still in a very range bound trend right now. If you have the money, there's a lot more different stocks that you could pick instead of this huge mammoth stock. A few more. United Health, if you're a big trader in it, still range bound right now. I'm just going to switch to the weekly because the weekly gives you a little better perspective. So weekly too looks very range bound. Not really in a good trading zone. I have kept it on my buy list. It's something that I would like to keep an eye on. However, I haven't found a good opportunity to buy it yet because it's so choppy. You get in, you might have to get out of it very soon. A few more. Johnson & Johnson, still, too choppy to really trade. Unless you get it at a really good value point, I would not recommend getting into that. ExxonMobil, it's in a very good buy trend. It does have definitely left the buy zone. So if you were to buy it, I would recommend buying it around this level, the 103 level, since it's actually held on to the yellow period moving average line, which is a 20 period. So now I would say just wait until the next dip before you get into that. Visa, too range bound, nothing really to recommend over here. JP Morgan, yes, I was looking at it a few times and I said it's actually got a good dip out of it and it's heading into a breakout zone. So this is a chance to buy pre-breakout. So think about it, like, and also like pay attention to the monthly. So as you see, the monthly for JP Morgan is also in a very good upward zone. So it's actually been trending for the last 2 months upwards. So not something to like keep an eye on. Again, do your own research, find out what's a good time to get into the stock, but just something food for thought for you. What else do you have? Telus is just gone below the 200 period moving average line on the weekly, heading lower in my perspective. I'm going to look into form factor, heading lower, trending lower as well. Abbott Laboratories is touched the 50 period moving average line. I would say like just be cautious here because there could be a lot more direction change that could happen. Advantage Energy touched the 50 period moving average line, but it's heading lower. So maybe just wait for it to turn direction before deciding on what to do. But also look at what's happening in the past. Like it's kind of like dipped a lot lower since 2020, and now it's just rising. So keep this is also a TSX stock there. Let's look at Walmart. Walmart's pretty much range bound right now, like not too much to talk about in terms of like where its market direction's heading. Give it some time to react. This is Tesla. Well, I did have a Tesla position, which I did close. It's a small like 2-day trade that I had put in, which did end up for a profit too. So just another like, a trade to look at. This is LLY. LLY, a very strong uptrend, but I haven't found a buying opportunity yet. Yes, last week at the start of the week could possibly be one, but I would not recommend going in at such high levels. Next is Procter & Gamble. It's too high in an uptrend. Like, a good time to buy would be somewhere around this levels, not you've kind of like gone too high. Nvidia at the 200 period moving average line right now. Let's look at a few more. This is Advantage. We've already seen that. Let's see MasterCard. So MasterCard, too range bound right now. Nothing really. Home Depot, still in an upward trend, but it's still not a good time to buy. Meta's been in a downward trend for a long time. And what I'm interested in looking at is this downward trend going to continue, or is it going to stop and head up from there? So something I'm keeping an eye on. Next is the Pfizer. Pfizer is also in a very in an oversold territory. I'm not going to buy it at this level. Wait for it to head back down before touching it or deciding if I should buy or sell it. So I'm going to stop here, but I hope these were helpful in just giving you perspective of like the few top trades to look at and deciding on when it's a good time to buy or when it's a good time to sell. So do let me know in the comments below if you would like me to address any particular stock that you are trading or you're looking to buy or sell, and I'll be happy to